friends, welcome back to my channel. Where's Brittany? I'm Brittany and I'm coming to you from inside of my beautiful tiny home on wheels, Domino. Last week I closed off the Bussin' It to Florida series, and over the past 2 months and about 8,000 miles on the road, I kind of learned some things and I wrote them all down, and I want to share them with you to, I don't know, better help prepare you moving forward if van life is something you want to get into, or to just kind of give you an idea of some of the, I guess, things I learned along the way. So without doing a whole bunch of intro talk, let's go ahead and get into it. So here's my little notebook, and the first thing I kind of want to talk to you guys about, and I think one of the most asked questions basically, is how do you find, you know, these super cute spots that you park at? And basically I use a few apps, but the main app that I use is iOverlander. I also use the Vanlife app, Free Roam, and most recently I downloaded this app called Hip App, one word. I'll put it all below. And basically Hip App is different from all of the other apps because this one is more like an Airbnb for campsites. People basically rent out, you know, their private property. Some people have like crazy amount of acres. They rent out their properties and basically let you stay on there. So that's why I kind of compare it to like Airbnb. On this trip, because I went from basically the West Coast to East Coast, I traveled from Nevada to Florida, and as I got closer to the East Coast, mainly New Mexico, I started to notice it was much harder to find those free dispersed camping sites. So I started to look for state parks and national parks along the way. When it comes to state parks and national parks, there's plenty of different ways to go about booking. If you know where you're going to be at you know, certain date, certain time, obviously it's best to go ahead and book online. But some options, well, I'm sorry, some parks, you don't have that option to book online. So one thing I want to note is make sure you always carry, you know, some cash on you. Parks normally range honestly from $9 to like $34 a night, and that includes like hookup and electricity and water and stuff like that. So just always carry a certain, you know, a small amount of cash on you, because some of them you pay with an envelope, you put that in, or you go into the ranger station and you pay that way and they take cash. And honestly, if you can, I recommend either picking up the phone, talking to a ranger, or paying once you get there. And I always you know, try to arrive to my campsites, you know, in the daytime, so I'm able to go in and speak with the ranger and pay that way. And when I do, that's when I'm able to actually ask about those discounts. And because I'm a veteran, for national parks, I have a park pass, so I pay half of the price to camp out. And then for some state parks along the way, I don't have to pay like the entry fee to the state parks, so that's nice. And also sometimes they give you a discount on camping, so that's a plus as well. When it comes to finding spots, if you would like me to do a separate video, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes on how I navigate through the apps to find my campsites, whether it's, you know, dispersed camping, an RV lot, BLM, or, you know, all the different ways that you can camp out. If you want a video about that, just go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I'll make a separate video about, I don't know, finding campsites. Okay, so the next one or next topic I want to discuss is basically how fast you travel. So if you can, I recommend driving slow, or, you know, traveling at a slower pace. This past 2 months have been like so fast paced, and I covered so many miles that the gas basically added up. And that was another one of, you know, one of the main questions, like, girl, how much have you spent on gas? And I basically, you know, I used the same card while I was traveling, so I was able to go in and filter out everything. And I'm gonna give you 3 seconds to see if you can guess how much I spent on gas. I was basically gone from 18 December to 18 February. I drove from Nevada to Florida, up to Virginia, back down to Florida, and then back to Nevada. So, how much gas do you think I spent? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. I spent $1,200 and $3,100 on gas for those 2 months. And I guess some people can, you know, say like that is a lot on gas. I mean, it is a lot to spend on gas, but you have to think about it. Before I moved into Dom, I was living in a house with 4 other people, and I was paying $1,300 a month to have my own room, my own bathroom, and guaranteed parking in San Francisco. Now, that's a lot, and I didn't get anything in return out of that $1,300 a month, but I spent basically less than that on gas. I traveled for 2 full months cross country, and you know, I think that was bang for my buck, you know, really, because that's 1 month of rent in San Francisco with, like, you know, a crap ton of adventures. So yes, that's how much I spent on gas for those 2 months. And I will add, like, for Domino, Domino has a 35-gallon tank, and she takes regular 87, you know, gas or whatever. And for me personally, like, I fill up Domino when she's at like a 4th tank gas, just to, you know, just for me and my peace of mind. That's just how I roll. When she's at, you know, a 4th tank gas, that's when I'm like searching, you know, or actually before she gets there, I'm searching to try and find a gas station to fill her back up, because I would hate to be stranded somewhere by myself because I ran out of freaking gas. Okay, let's see. Domino also gets like 10 miles per gallon. So I have a Mini Cooper, and on a full tank of gas, my Mini Cooper can get like almost 500 miles. So like, I know that 10 miles per the gallon, you know, sucks. So that's why I say go slow if you can, and, you know, stretch out your gas, because it can add up. So that's one thing that you should consider when you're planning things out, like how fast you're trying to get to these locations. And gas gets expensive as you come back to the West Coast. Like, I was hitting gas that was like $1.99, and that's beautiful. But then West Coast gas is $3 and some change. So that is something you have to think about. And going into the next topic, going from city to city to city to city, like I did with the super fast pace, one thing I need to note is, like, just use caution when you're driving at such a fast pace, or even when you're going at a slow pace, because getting on the expressways and going from, again, the West Coast to the East Coast, the miles per hour, all of that changes. You're going from 65 to 70 to 75 to 80 in some places. And if you have a dash cam, I would just recommend, you know, using it, because I have one, but I just don't freaking use it. And it would have been helpful in, you know, a few instances. I talked about one of the instances with the 18-wheeler in my last video, if you want to check that one out. It just would have been nice to have my dash cam hooked up if the situation, you know, would have went completely left. If the situation would have got out of control, my dash cam would have been, like, you know, the evidence that I needed, that I would have needed. So yes, have a dash cam if you can, and just make sure you use caution when you're going from city to city, because, you know, some people just can't drive. Next thing I want to note, the humidity on the East Coast is crazy. Like, I'm originally from Florida, and I know that the humidity is crazy, but I didn't know the humidity was gonna be so crazy when it came to Domino. And basically I have some things that I need to fix now that I'm back over here. So I have 2 cork boards here in Domino, and basically they have started to lift and to bubble up. So I need to go to the Home Depot and figure out a different tacking solution to keep them more secure. I use like the 3M like adhesive spray, but now I want to see if I can get like a super thick paste. So I literally just thought about Gorilla Glue, and y'all know why I thought about Gorilla Glue. So maybe I just need to get some Gorilla Glue and actually use it for what it's supposed to be used for. So I'll try that out. Okay, so yes, humidity is crazy on the East Coast, and ooh, let me go ahead and show you what I purchased from the Amazon. I recently purchased these, one second. Okay, so I recently purchased these from Amazon, and I really can't give you like, you know, the full rundown on them because I literally just purchased them and placed them in different spots in Domino, just to like, they're basically they trap extra moisture that's in the air. And I put one, actually I have 2 underneath my bed. I have one on this side over here because my clothes are over here, and then I have one on the opposite side because I have my batteries. And then in the cabinet, like my pantry area, I have one under there. And you know, I really can't speak to them because I just got them, so I'm just hoping that I didn't waste my money and they work out. Okay, next topic, let's talk about this Luggable Loo. Now I have had this restroom situation the entire time I've had Domino, so that's coming up on 1.5 years, and I haven't been in Domino like 2 full months straight. Like even when I was in Domino for school, I would come home every 2 weeks and, you know, chill out here and then get back on the road and get back in Domino, you know, for 2 weeks. I would just do that. But for this time I was in Dom full time, and I was using my Luggable Loo with the medical grade bags, and basically like there was no smell when the Luggable Loo was closed, but when you would open it, yes, it would be a light smell. So what I started to do is use essential oil. Like they have these little strips inside of the medical grade bags, and I would basically put like 1 or 2, well more like 2 to 3 drops of my lemongrass essential oil inside of the bag. So basically when I would open it to use it, that's the scent I would be met with, like lemongrass. So that's just one of my little takeaways. You can take it or leave it, but it works. Put some essential oil drops in your Luggable Loo and it works. Next topic I want to talk about is having additional water on the board. And having additional water on board, because like you guys know, I have Jada, and Jada is this adventurous little digger, and basically she will get into everything, and she just loves the outdoors, and I'm okay with that, but she gets into a lot of things. And so I've had to give Jada baths after baths after baths in here, so I always keep extra water. So for me, I have a 7-gallon fresh water tank underneath the sink that I use to like wash dishes, wash my hands and stuff like that. But then I also keep like 4 gallons of fresh water, fresh drinking water for me to, you know, drink with and to cook with. And then I keep an additional 5 gallons of water just, you know, just to have. And basically the extra 5 gallons have honestly been going to keeping Jada clean. I think she's upset because I forced her into the bucket and gave her a little bath. No, Jada, come back. Are you kidding me? Really, she just got finished getting all of this crap off her before she got back in here. Ew, that was all the dirt that was on her. I literally can't with this girl. Look at her. My auntie gave her a bath before we left. Look at her face. Look at her paws. Like, if you have the space for it, if you have the resources for it, always keep extra water on board. Okay, I have 2 more topics to talk about. This one right here is basically fears of being on the road, or fears of being a solo female traveler, and you know, all that stuff. So I did have, you know, a scare of being locked out, and basically when Domino is locked, she is locked from the inside and you cannot get in unless you have the key to get into the main door or someone inside let you in. And I know people had questions like, well, how come you couldn't go in through your bus door, like the bus side door? And the reason for that is I do have a padlock on my door, my bus door, and there is a key to get in. However, when Domino is locked up, the bus door has its own lock. So in order to get in from the bus doors that open up, someone has to be in on the inside to actually unlock it to open that up. And then the door that's in the back, I have a separate lock and key on it. So again, you can't get in unless someone lets you in from the inside. So I have Domino set up that, you know, I'm locked in. When I'm inside of Domino, I'm locked in. And I like it because I feel safe. But when situations, you know, like I'm locked out, I'm really locked out, and so someone would physically have to let me back in. So I don't have any fears about, you know, someone trying to get into Dom while I'm in Dom, because yeah, I always have the opportunity. I feel like I always will have the opportunity to grab my keys, because I have my keys in the same location. Every time I get into Dom, I hang them up on the key rack, and basically I can just grab my keys and go. People ask if I carry weapons on board, and I'm not trying to be shady or petty or anything when I answer the question this way, but if I have weapons on board, I'm not going to tell you if I have weapons on board. And if I don't have weapons on board, I'm not telling you that I don't have weapons on board. And to me, that's just common sense. I'm not going to announce to the world what I have or don't have inside of Domino to keep me safe. So I will say, if you're asking for a recommendation on, as a solo female traveler or a solo traveler, if I would recommend any type of, you know, safety measures or safety items to have on board, I will say have whatever you need to have to keep you safe or to make you feel like you're safe. Whether that's a bat or, you know, whatever it may be, but just make sure you read the rules and laws and regulations and stuff like that in the areas that you will be, you know, camping at, or states that you'll be driving through. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. You wouldn't know if I do or don't have weapons up in this piece. Okay. Next thing about safety, GPS or fears and, you know, safety and stuff like that. For GPS location tracker. So while I'm out on the road, and even currently right now, my sisters, my dad, and Andrew, my husband, they always have my GPS location, you know, wherever I'm at. They can always pull up their cell phones and say, oh, you know, where is Brittany? And boom, they'll be able to find me on the map. So that's just another way, you know, that I just have like a extra, you know, security blanket. Like, my people can always tap in and see where I'm at any given time. People have noted that girl, it always kind of seems like you out in the middle of nowhere and nobody's around. And that's because I'm literally out in the middle of nowhere and nobody's around. And I'm okay with that, because when I go into iOverlander or whatever app it may be, I do research. Like, I research my campsite outside of that app. So I go into Google Map myself, and I, you know, go into different modes like satellite mode, pull it up, and you know, use the 360 area to try and see like what's around, to see if the neighborhood is sketchy, or if Domino's wide to see if she can even make it, you know, to some of these secluded spots and stuff like that. So I do my research, so I feel comfortable when I park somewhere. I feel comfortable that I will be safe there that night. And again, if I don't feel comfortable, I have 6 tires up underneath me, so I always can, you know, just crank up Dom and go. When it comes to my spots as well, no one knows where I'm at unless I want them to know where I'm at. So again, my family and my husband, they have my location, but as far as social media don't need to know where I'm at until I want them to know where I'm at. So I may not release that spot until, you know, a week later, or, you know, I may release it the very next day. And one thing you have to monitor is that, you know, it's quite a bit of people within the van life community, and somebody, you know, may say like, hey, you know, that's this spot in the comments. A little kid was looking up in, you know, Domino. But I've had, you know, someone within the community say like, hey, you know, I was just there, and they released the location name. And I caught it, and I was able to delete the comment, and then I reached out to them individually through a message and say like, hey, I'm here, I'm solo, like, don't blast, you know, my location for safety reasons. And they understood that, and, you know, they just got so excited or whatever. But don't, you know, advertise your location until basically you're gone. So that's one of the safety things that, you know, I just kind of use. I want to close off the fear piece with kind of like asking you guys, like, I know that you all care and you are concerned about my safety and stuff, but in the comment section, like, I just get so many random comments of other people projecting their fears onto me. Like, one of the comments, I'm gonna go ahead and read it to you because I wrote it down. I deleted it, so you guys don't go like looking for the comment. But basically, you know, someone put like, that can't be me. I heard they're out here killing people, but you be safe. Like, what kind of comment is that to leave under somebody's like page? Also, people leave docu-series. I had someone leave a link to another YouTube page that basically was talking about serial killers out there killing, you know, solo travelers and solo females, and, you know, all this stuff. Like, people leave those kind of comments under, you know, my videos, and I want to read all the comments. So I'm not sure where we cut off. My camera overheated, and yeah, it just shut off. So I know we were talking about fears and, you know, other people projecting their fears onto me in comments. And I just want to say, like, I love reading the comments from everybody. But when I get those type of comments, like, it really, you know, kind of brings me down a bit, or it puts me in a weird headspace, you know, thinking about the what ifs and stuff like that. And, you know, I just, you know, I know you guys are trying to be, you know, nice and, you know, looking out for me and stuff like that. And if, you know, that's the case, it's all about the wording and rewording phrases to be positive versus negative. You know, you can still say, girl, be safe, or, you know, whatever, but it's more or less like, I'm going to continue praying for your safety, or continue to be safe on the road. Because it's not like I'm out here, you know, doors wide open, advertising like, hey, I'm Brittany, I'm in here by myself, you know, blase blase. No, I'm in here practicing, you know, safe practices, so I'm ensuring my own safety. So I just, you know, request that if you leave comments, you know, talking about my safety and stuff like that, make them on the positive side with wording, not to project your own personal insecurities or your fears onto me and what I have going on. Because, you know, what I do may not work for you personally in the real world. This may just be an idea of something that you could see yourself possibly doing, but you have your fears. And that's okay. Everybody have their fears, but don't be leaving crazy stuff in the comments, because that just makes me not want to read, you know, my comments. Another thing, I know I said it was just 2 things I wanted to talk about, but I want to also note that my blankets. I know I made a video about, you know, I hate making up my bed, because I do hate making up the bed, because it's just the small space and being lifted up in the air and not being able to tuck in my covers, you know, all around properly. You know, it just makes it a headache. And people commented like, because you have so many blankets. You know, that's why you hate making up your bed. You have to fold so many blankets. But to be honest, I only use 2 or 3 blankets max, like my comforter and then 2 additional blankets. So it's literally, you know, me folding 2 blankets in the morning when I make up my bed. But one thing I do want to note about that is if you have the space, carry as many blankets on board as you can. I think now I have about 10 or 11 blankets on board, and it helps, not just for me, like if I'm cold. When we were in New Mexico and it got down to 9 degrees, when the video started, I actually had a blanket on the door. So I do have a window cover that, you know, blocks so people can't see inside, but adding an additional layer, like let's say one of my 50 million blankets, you know, it helps keep the cold out and keep the warm in. So for those cold nights, you can line, you know, all of these windows with additional blankets to keep your heat in and to keep some of the cold out. So have extra blankets on board if you can. And then I want to close with one thing that I noticed that helped me get to my day going and to make me feel better is to have a morning routine, or, you know, a nightly routine. I didn't really have a nightly routine, but I got a morning routine together that worked for me and Jada while her and I were on the road full time by ourselves, and it worked. And so basically, you know, whether it's, you know, making your coffee or whatever it is you need to do in the morning to get you going, I came up with my own morning routine to get me going, and I'm going to share that with you all next Friday. And so this is where I'm gonna let you guys go. If you like this week's video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if that's something you like. And I will catch you all next Friday, where you will get to see my morning routine. I will see y'all later. Bye.